ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. Every great story begins with a dream, a vision so clear that it keeps us awake at night. But dreams on their own are not enough. Fascinated, the world is full of dreamers who never dared to take the first step. What separates those who wish from those who win is action, the courage to move, even when the path ahead is uncertain. I'm fascinated. Every great journey begins with a dream, a vision of something greater than yourself, something that ignites your heart and pulls you forward even when logic tells you to stop. I'm fascinated. Believing in the power of your dream is not simply about imagination. It is about trust. Trust in your vision, trust in your abilities, and trust in the process of becoming. A dream is not just a wish or a fantasy. Fascinated. It is a glimpse of what your future can become if you have the courage to nurture it and the determination to bring it to life. The moment you believe your dream is possible, fascinated, you activate the energy that turns imagination into achievement. When we look at the people who have changed the world, the inventors, leaders, and creators, they all started with a dream. Fascinated. Before Thomas Edison gave light to the world, he had to believe that the impossible could be made real. Before Oprah Winfrey became a symbol of success and empowerment, she had to believe that her voice mattered. Fascinated. Before any artist paints a masterpiece or any entrepreneur builds an empire, belief is born. Belief gives shape to vision, and vision gives direction to life. Without belief, even the most beautiful dream remains locked inside your mind. I'm fascinated, unexpressed, and unrealized. Believing in your dream also means protecting it from doubt, both your own and that of others. The world is full of people who will tell you what cannot be done. I'm fascinated. They will project their fears onto your ambition and try to convince you that your vision is unrealistic. But here is a truth few understand: no one else can see what you see. Your dream was given to you for a reason. I'm fascinated. It lives in your heart, not theirs. That means you are responsible for nurturing it, defending it, and believing in it long before anyone else does. Fascinated. Every great success story begins in a lonely place, a place where belief is tested and faith becomes your only fuel. Belief, however, is not passive. It demands commitment. It requires you to show up every day with conviction. I'm fascinated. Even when results are not visible, when you believe in your dream, you do not wait for conditions to be perfect. You act as if your dream is already on its way. Fascinated. This mindset transforms obstacles into opportunities and delays into lessons. Every small action becomes a step closer to turning your dream into reality. Belief turns hesitation into motion, fear into courage. Fascinated. And uncertainty into growth. There will be times when you question yourself, when the road feels too long, the work too hard, and the outcome too far away. In those moments, belief becomes your anchor. Fascinated. It reminds you of why you started and what you are fighting for. It pushes you to rise when you fail and to keep moving when everything seems to stand still. The most successful people are not those who never doubted. I'm fascinated, but those who refuse to let doubt define them. They chose belief over fear every single time. Believing in your dream also transforms the way you live. It shapes your choices, influences your relationships, and guides your decisions. Fascinated. When you truly believe, your actions align with your purpose. You surround yourself with people who lift you higher. You invest your time in what matters, and you carry yourself with quiet confidence. Belief turns vision into identity. Fascinated. You stop chasing your dream and start living it. Not someday, but right now, through every decision and every effort. The truth is, dreams do not come true by chance. They come true by choice. The choice to believe, to persist. I'm fascinated. And to see potential where others see limitation. When you choose belief, you unlock the infinite possibility within you. You stop waiting for validation and start creating your own path. I'm fascinated. Every dreamer who ever achieved greatness began not with resources or talent, but with unshakable belief. The power of your dream is as strong as the faith you place in it. When you believe in your dream, fascinated, you give it permission to grow. And that is how ordinary people create extraordinary lives. A dream without action is like a seed left unplanted. It may hold all the potential in the world, but without action, it will never grow. Fascinated. Taking action with courage and consistency is the bridge between imagination and reality. It is the stage where you stop wishing and start working, where vision turns into effort and effort turns into progress. Fascinated. Many people dream of success, but only a few are willing to take the steps necessary to make it happen. What separates the dreamers from the doers is not talent or luck, but the courage to act and the discipline to persist. Fascinated action requires courage because every meaningful step forward carries uncertainty. The unknown is intimidating. It challenges your comfort zone and exposes your fears. But courage is not the absence of fear. I'm fascinated. It is the decision to move forward despite it. When you take action, you're making a declaration to the world that your dream is worth the risk. You accept that failure might happen. I'm fascinated, but you also understand that inaction guarantees nothing. Every act of courage builds strength. Every step, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. Fascinated. The first step is always the hardest because it demands trust in yourself, in your vision, and in the process. Consistency, on the other hand, is what transforms temporary effort into lasting achievement. Fascinated. It is easy to start with enthusiasm, but it takes discipline to keep going when excitement fades. Success is not built on grand gestures. It is built on small, deliberate actions repeated over time. I'm fascinated. The person who works a little every day will always outpace the one who works a lot once in a while. Consistency turns progress into momentum. It creates habits, and habits create transformation. Fascinated. The secret of every high achiever lies not in doing extraordinary things once, but in doing ordinary things extraordinarily well every single day. When you take action with courage, fascinated, you train your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles. You stop waiting for perfect timing because you realize that perfection is an illusion. The conditions will never be ideal. Fascinated. And waiting for the right moment often becomes an excuse for inaction. Those who succeed don't wait for clarity. They create it through movement. Each action brings experience, and each experience brings learning. Fascinated. That is how confidence is built, not by thinking, but by doing. Courage and consistency work hand in hand. Courage gives you the strength to begin, and consistency gives you the strength to continue. Without courage, I'm fascinated, you'll never start. Without consistency, you'll never finish. The path to your dream will test you. You will face rejection, doubt, and failure. But these challenges are not barriers. They are the training ground for growth. Fascinated, the more you act, the more resilient you become. You learn to adapt, to persist, and to rise stronger each time you fall. Every failure refines your approach, and every success renews your belief. Fascinated action also builds credibility, both within yourself and in the eyes of others. When you act on your words, you earn respect. When you keep your promises, especially the ones you make to yourself, you build trust. Fascinated, that trust becomes the foundation of self-confidence. You begin to see that your efforts matter, that your persistence pays off, and that your dream is not as far away as it once seemed. I'm fascinated. Each small victory reinforces the habit of progress. Ultimately, taking action with courage and consistency is about owning your journey. It means refusing to wait for luck or permission. Fascinated, it means deciding that you are the author of your life story. Even when fear whispers, you can't, your actions shout, I will. And when you show up every day, even on the hard days, the universe begins to respond. Opportunities appear. People notice. Momentum grows. You realize that success was never about taking one giant leap. It was about taking one brave step over and over again until your dream becomes your reality. Fascinated. Failure is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. Many see it as a sign of weakness or defeat, but in truth, failure is one of the most powerful teachers we will ever encounter. It exposes our blind spots. Fascinated. Strengthens our resilience and refines our character. Without failure, there can be no genuine growth. Every person who has achieved greatness has a history of mistakes, setbacks, and disappointments behind them. Fascinated. What sets them apart is not that they avoided failure, but that they learned from it, adapted, and kept moving forward. When you embrace failure as a teacher, you shift your mindset from fear to curiosity. Instead of asking, fascinated, why did this happen to me? You begin to ask, what can I learn from this? This simple shift changes everything. It transforms pain into purpose and loss into learning. I'm fascinated. Failure becomes less about shame and more about self-discovery. Every failure carries a lesson, but only those who are willing to look closely can find it. The moment you stop running from failure and start learning from it, I'm fascinated, you begin to master your growth. Failure has the unique ability to reveal truth. It shows you what doesn't work, where your weaknesses lie, and what needs to be improved. In that way, failure is honest, brutally honest. I'm fascinated. It doesn't flatter your ego or comfort your pride. It challenges you to evolve. Those who fear failure often remain stuck because They never give themselves the chance to grow beyond their current limits. Fascinated, but those who embrace it see failure as feedback. They understand that each mistake is simply data guiding them toward better choices and stronger strategies. Think of the world's greatest innovators and leaders. I'm fascinated. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Walt Disney was told he lacked imagination. J.K. Rowling faced repeated rejection before the world met Harry Potter. Fascinated. These individuals didn't achieve success because they never failed. They succeeded because they never gave up. They treated every setback as a stepping stone. Failure, in their eyes, I'm fascinated, was not the end of the road. It was part of the journey. Embracing failure also builds emotional strength. It teaches patience, humility, and perseverance. When you fail and rise again, fascinated, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your circumstances. That realization changes your entire approach to life. You stop fearing what might go wrong and start focusing on what you can control. Your effort, your attitude, fascinated, and your persistence. The more you experience failure, the less power it holds over you. What once felt like a barrier becomes a natural part of your progress. Failure is also the foundation of innovation. Every new idea, I'm fascinated, every creative breakthrough begins with trial and error. You cannot discover what works without first discovering what doesn't. Failure forces you to think differently, to stretch your imagination, and to question assumptions. I'm fascinated. It keeps you humble and hungry. In many ways, failure sharpens your vision. It strips away what's unnecessary and leaves only what truly matters. When you embrace it, you stop chasing perfection and start pursuing progress. Fascinated. The key is to respond to failure with reflection, not regret. Regret keeps you trapped in the past, replaying what went wrong. Reflection moves you forward by helping you understand why it happened and what you can do better next time. I'm fascinated. When you reflect on failure, you turn experience into wisdom. That wisdom becomes your guide, helping you make smarter, more confident decisions in the future. In the end, failure doesn't define you. Your response to it does. Fascinated. If you let it break you, it becomes a wall. If you let it teach you, it becomes a bridge. Every failure carries within it the seed of future success, but you must be willing to look beyond the pain to find the lesson. Fascinated. Embracing failure means accepting that growth is messy, uncomfortable, and unpredictable, but always worthwhile. When you see failure as a teacher, every setback becomes part of your preparation. Fascinated. And every mistake becomes a milestone on the path to greatness. Purpose gives meaning to everything we do. It is the reason we wake up every morning with drive and determination. But purpose without action is just a feeling. Fascinated, and action without purpose is just motion. When the two align, something extraordinary happens. Your life gains direction, clarity, and fulfillment. Aligning purpose with action means ensuring that every step you take, fascinated, every decision you make, and every effort you invest reflects the deeper why that drives you. It's about living intentionally instead of simply existing. Many people work hard, but not everyone works with purpose. Fascinated. You can spend your life being busy, yet still feel empty if your actions are not connected to something meaningful. Purpose is what transforms work into a calling and effort into impact. Fascinated. It's what makes challenges bearable and success deeply rewarding. When you know your purpose, you stop chasing everything that glitters and focus on what truly matters. Purpose becomes the compass that guides your choices. I'm fascinated, ensuring that your energy is spent where it counts. Aligning purpose with action begins with understanding what truly inspires you, what makes you feel alive, and what kind of legacy you want to create. Once you know your purpose, I'm fascinated, you must bring it to life through consistent, meaningful action. It's not enough to say you want to make a difference, you have to live in a way that makes a difference. When your actions reflect your beliefs, you create authenticity. Fascinated, you become someone whose words and deeds are one and the same, and that integrity builds trust both in yourself and in the eyes of others. This alignment also fuels resilience. When your actions are connected to your purpose, I'm fascinated, quitting becomes harder. You can endure setbacks because you're not just working for money, fame, or recognition. You're working for something bigger than yourself. Fascinated. Purpose-driven action gives you strength during hard times because you understand that every struggle contributes to a mission that matters. You stop asking, how long will this take? And start asking, is this worth it? The answer when rooted in purpose, is almost always yes. Another benefit of aligning purpose with action is clarity. Life is filled with distractions and opportunities that can pull you in many directions. Fascinated, without purpose, it's easy to chase what looks appealing but doesn't truly align with who you are. When you act with purpose, decisions become simpler. I'm fascinated. You can say no to what doesn't fit your values because you have a clear yes guiding your life. That clarity not only sharpens your focus, but also brings peace of mind. You no longer feel lost or unsure. You feel grounded. Fascinated indeed, because your actions are guided by intention. Purposeful action also inspires others. When people see someone living with genuine conviction, they feel it. Purpose is contagious. Fascinated, it awakens something in others, a desire to find meaning in their own lives. By aligning your purpose with your actions, you don't just achieve personal success, you create ripples of inspiration around you. I'm fascinated. You become an example of what it means to live authentically and passionately. This kind of leadership doesn't require authority or title. It simply requires consistency between what you believe and what you do. I'm fascinated. It's important to understand that aligning purpose with action is not a one-time decision. It's a continuous practice. Life changes, goals evolve, and circumstances shift. Staying aligned means regularly checking in with yourself. Fascinated, asking if what you're doing still reflects who you are and what you value. Sometimes it requires courage to make adjustments, to walk away from what no longer serves your mission, and to start again with renewed focus. Fascinated, but that is the beauty of purpose. It evolves with you. Ultimately, aligning purpose with action is about living a life of integrity, direction, and fulfillment. That I'm fascinated. It's about ensuring that what you do every day brings you closer to who you want to be and the impact you want to make. When your purpose fuels your actions and your actions honor your purpose, not only success, but significance. You stop living by accident and start living by design, a life where every step is meaningful, every choice intentional, and every moment a reflection of your deepest values. Fascinated, to live authentically and passionately means to live in alignment with who you truly are, not who the world expects you to be. It means embracing your individuality, your voice, and your values with pride. Fascinated, and expressing them boldly through your actions, choices, and lifestyle. Authentic living is about being real, honest with yourself and others, and passionate living is about being driven by enthusiasm and purpose. Together, fascinated, authenticity and passion create a life of fulfillment, integrity, and joy. Living authentically begins with self-awareness. You cannot live true to yourself if you don't know who you are. Fascinated, this requires introspection, understanding your strengths, weaknesses, beliefs, and desires. It's about peeling away the layers of expectations placed upon you by society, family, I'm fascinated, or peers, and discovering your own truth beneath them. Authenticity demands courage because it often means standing apart from the crowd. It means saying no when everyone expects yes, speaking your truth even when it's uncomfortable, fascinated, and following your path even when it's uncertain. But the reward is freedom, the freedom to live a life that feels right, not one that just looks right. Passion gives that authenticity energy. Fascinated, it is the fire that fuels progress and transforms ordinary existence into extraordinary living. Passionate people radiate energy. They bring excitement and purpose to everything they do. Fascinated, they wake up with intention because they are connected to something they love, whether it's a craft, a cause, or a mission. Passion doesn't mean you'll always feel motivated or that every day will be easy. Fascinated, but it means you care deeply enough to keep going even when it's hard. It is that deep emotional connection to your purpose that keeps you moving forward. When you live authentically and passionately fascinated, you attract the right opportunities and people into your life. Authenticity draws authenticity. Passion inspires passion. When others see you living with honesty and enthusiasm, they feel encouraged to do the same. Fascinated, you become a light for those still searching for their path. People trust those who are real, not perfect. They are drawn to those who live their values, not just talk about them. Fascinated, that is why authenticity is one of the most powerful forms of influence. It doesn't demand attention, it earns it naturally. Authentic living also protects your peace. When you stop pretending, fascinated, you stop exhausting yourself trying to fit into molds that were never made for you. You stop seeking validation from others and start finding satisfaction within yourself. Fascinated. You realize that happiness doesn't come from being accepted by everyone. It comes from accepting yourself completely. Living passionately deepens that peace, because when your life is filled with things you love and care about, fascinated, there is little room for regret. You stop surviving and start thriving. However, authenticity and passion require daily practice. It's easy to lose yourself in a world that constantly tells you who to be. Fascinated. It's easy to dim your light to make others comfortable, but living authentically means staying true even when it's inconvenient, and living passionately means staying engaged even when you're tired. Fascinated. It's about showing up every day with sincerity and commitment, knowing that your effort has meaning because it comes from the heart. Passion and authenticity also create resilience. When you live in alignment with your truth, fascinating, external opinions lose their power over you. You no longer depend on approval because your validation comes from within. Challenges and criticism become easier to handle because you're not living for anyone else's expectations. I'm fascinated. You understand that not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. Passion gives you the strength to persist. Authenticity gives you the confidence to keep walking your path regardless of who joins you. I'm fascinated. Living authentically and passionately is not about being perfect. It's about being real and alive. It's about embracing your imperfections, following your curiosity, and giving your best to what matters most. Fascinated. When your heart leads your actions, life becomes richer and more meaningful. You find joy not in having more, but in being more genuine, more expressive, more engaged with life itself. In the end, I'm fascinated. Authenticity and passion are not luxuries. They are necessities for a life that truly feels alive. When you live as your truest self and pour your energy into what you love, you stop merely existing. You start living deeply. I'm fascinated. Purposefully and unapologetically. Inspiring others through your journey is one of the most meaningful outcomes of living with purpose. It is not about trying to impress people or seeking recognition. Fascinated. It is about becoming an example of what's possible. Your journey, the struggles, the lessons, the growth can light the way for someone else who is still searching for hope or direction. Every experience you go through, fascinated, whether it's a triumph or a trial, has the potential to inspire when you choose to share it with authenticity and humility. Inspiration doesn't come from perfection. It comes from perseverance. Fascinated people are not moved by flawless success stories, but by those who have stumbled, fallen, and risen again with strength and purpose. To inspire others, you first need to live truthfully. Fascinated. Inspiration begins with authenticity, being real about who you are and what you've been through. When you own your story, including the difficult parts, you give others permission to own theirs. Vulnerability builds connection. Fascinated, people relate to honesty more than to achievement because honesty reminds them that they are not alone in their struggles. When you speak about your failures openly and share how you grew from them, fascinated, your journey becomes a source of encouragement rather than intimidation. You show others that growth is messy, that progress takes time, and that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to keep going in spite of it. And I'm fascinated, your journey also becomes inspiring when it reflects consistency and resilience. The way you respond to challenges says more than your words ever could. When others see you staying committed to your purpose, even when things get tough, fascinated, they begin to believe they can do the same. Your persistence becomes their proof that dreams are achievable with effort and faith. You may not even realize how many people are watching you quietly, taking strength from your example. Fascinated. Sometimes the simple act of not giving up is the most powerful message you can send to the world. Inspiration also grows through kindness and service. When you use your journey not just to elevate yourself, but to uplift others, fascinated, your life gains deeper meaning. Every time you mentor someone, offer encouragement, or share wisdom you've learned along the way, you plant seeds of hope in others. The impact of that generosity extends far beyond what you can see. Fascinated, true inspiration creates a ripple effect. One person's courage sparks in others, and that chain continues endlessly. The more you give, the more you grow, and the more your journey becomes a source of light. To inspire others, fascinated, you don't have to be extraordinary, you just have to be genuine and intentional. The smallest acts, showing compassion, working hard, staying optimistic, can inspire more than grand gestures. Fascinated, people draw inspiration from those who live by their values every day. When your actions reflect integrity and purpose, your life itself becomes a message. Fascinated, you show that success is not just about achieving goals, but about who you become along the way. Inspiration lies in the quiet moments, in patience, in discipline, in how you treat others even when no one is watching. But I'm fascinated. Sharing your journey also reminds others that transformation is possible at any stage of life. It shows that starting small is not a limitation, but a beginning. When people see your growth, how far you've come, fascinated, how you've evolved, they begin to believe in their own potential. Your story can awaken something dormant in someone else, helping them see that if you could rise, they can too. And as they begin to move forward, they will, in turn, fascinated, inspire others. That is how one journey can spark countless others. Ultimately, inspiring others through your journey is about living with purpose and authenticity so deeply that your life itself becomes a message of hope. Fascinated, you don't need to preach or persuade. Your actions, attitude, and perseverance will speak louder than words. The courage to be yourself, the strength to keep going, fascinated, and the grace to help others along the way, these are what truly inspire. When your journey becomes a reflection of resilience, kindness, and faith, fascinated, you don't just change your own life, you create a ripple of inspiration that can change the world around you. Dream it. Do it. Fascinated, live it, is more than a motivational phrase. It is a philosophy for living a purposeful and fulfilled life. It reminds us that every achievement begins with a vision, grows through courageous action, fascinated, and becomes complete when we live in alignment with our dreams. To dream is to believe in possibilities beyond the present. To do is to take bold, consistent steps despite fear and uncertainty. Fascinated, to live it is to embody your purpose every single day, creating a life that inspires others. True success is not just about reaching goals, but about becoming the person your dream calls you to be. When you dare to dream big, act bravely, fascinated, and live passionately, you turn your vision into reality and your life into an example of what's possible. So keep dreaming, keep doing, and above all, keep living your purpose fully.